So YieldMax Group 2 announced their distributions today. So we're going to go over those to see how much they're going to pay out. And then we're going to take a look at Bitcoin along with Mr. and Misty just to see what happened today. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today, Group 2 of YieldMax ETFs did announce their distributions today. So we're going to take a quick look at that. I also have a couple sheets for Defiance and RoundHill, and we'll look at those. And then we'll also take a look at Bitcoin just to see where it went today, as I believe it's still in that low 90 range. So if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to hit that like button as it does help the channel out. So let's just go ahead and we're going to jump straight on into the distributions. All right, so here we are on the YieldMax ETF Group 2 distribution sheet. And this is for November 19th with an X date of November 20th and a pay date of Friday, November the 21st. So let's just go ahead and start it right off with AMDY with 10 cents, AIYY with 2 cents, AMDY with 17 cents, and that's a 106% distribution rate. Very nice. AMSY with 8 cents, APLY with 9 cents, Babo with 12 cents, BRKC with 24 cents, CONY with 6 cents, and I have CONY, and I believe that's about what we had last week as well. CRCO with 51 cents. That's a 101% distribution rate. Very nice. Crash with 5 cents. CVNY with 56 cents. And that's a 91% distribution rate. DIPS 5 cents. DISO 6 cents. DRE with 54 cents. That's a 93% distribution rate. FBY 9 cents. FIAT 6 cents. GDXY with 20 cents. GMEY with 51 cents. GUI with 9 cents, HIYY 63 cents, and that's a 111% distribution rate. So there's still a few in here that are still paying out over 100% distribution rate. HUI 79 cents, and I now have HUI, so I'll actually be able to account for that one, and that'll be my first distribution off of HUI. And each distribution helps me to bring down my real price per share. JPMO with 7 cents, MARO with 21 cents, and that's a 105% distribution rate. Wow. Marnie, 2 cents, MSFO, 16 cents, MSTY with 14 cents, and that's a 92% distribution rate. But with the way MSTY and Mr. and Bitcoin that have been coming down, I'll take the 14 cents. NEFLY, 8 cents. NVDA 14 cents. I have NVDA as well. OARC 7 cents. PLTY with 72 cents. Nice. PYPY with 7 cents. RBLY 41 cents. RDYY 52 cents with a 76% distribution rate. SMCY 19 cents at a 100% distribution rate. Now the price has been coming down, but I believe last week we also had a distribution of about 19 cents as well. So that sounds pretty good to me. Snowy with 14 cents, Tesla 8 cents, TSMY 10 cents, Winter 84 cents, and that's a 125% distribution rate. Winter is eating it up, right? Because Mr. coming down. And why is Mr. coming down? Well, Bitcoin is just not getting any love at the moment. It's been coming down, so therefore Mr.'s been coming down and pulling Misty down with it, which does seem to help Winter move up, right? Zomo with 8 cents, XYZY 9 cents, YBIT 7 cents, and YQQQ for 7 cents. So that wraps up all the ones for YieldMax. And the ones that I have out of here are SMCY, PLTY, NVDA, MSTY, QQQY, CONY, and AMDY right here. So I'll be able to update my spreadsheet with those distributions this weekend, and each time it just helps to bring down my real price per share average, no matter what the amount of distribution that we get paid out. All right, so let's just go ahead and we're going to jump over and check out the ones for Defiance. All right, so this is the sheet I have for the Defiance funds, and this has a X date of tomorrow, the 20th, and then the payout for Friday, the 21st. And this one will start right off with GLDY, and that's going to pay out 16 cents. IWMY, 15 cents. QQQY, 16 cents. USOY, 9 cents. And WDTE with 18 cents. And out of these, I have WDTE, QQQY, and IWMY. So those will also be a part of my update this weekend on my spreadsheets. And for the last sheet I have is for RoundHill. And RoundHill has an X date of the 20th with the pay date of the 21st being Friday as well. And in this group, we have XDTE for 26 cents, QDTE with 22 cents, and RDTE with 25 cents. And out of these, I have QDTE, and I did have XDTE, but it was just such a small position, I went ahead and sold it. But I do still have QDTE. So that's going to wrap up all of the announcements that I have. So now let's just go ahead and jump right over into the charts, and let's take a look at Bitcoin and see how that affected Mr. and Misty. All right, so here we are on Bitcoin, and we're looking at Bitcoin, and you can see we had this support line right here around that 88.8K, and you can see that we actually dropped as low as 88.5 today. Wow, came down pretty low, but we did end up moving back up, and we're currently sitting back at that 92 right now. So now let's take a look at Mr. and let's see, is it also up just like Bitcoin here? All right, we're looking at Mr. right now, but we see a red candle, right? Looks like it came down. We did come down and test that support right there at that 181.40 that I've got it drawn in at. We are down. Well, we've got a red candle on Mr. and we've got a green candle on Bitcoin. Well, why is that? Why is Mr. not moving up when Bitcoin looks like it's up? Well, we got to take a little deeper look at this. The main difference here is for Mr., the market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is the close at 4 o'clock, right? Close being 186.5. Now we did come as low as 181.7, but we closed at 186.5. But we are showing that red candle. But on Bitcoin, it doesn't end at 4 p.m., right? It's 24 hours a day. This thing is just ticking away, right? Whether it's going up or whether it's going down. So in order to see where it was actually at 4 o'clock, we need to change our time frame here from this day chart because this is showing a green candle. Well, let's take a look at where it was at 4 p.m. because that is going to tell us and hopefully explain why Mr. is red versus Bitcoin being green. So let's take a look. All right, so here we are. Now we're looking at a 15-minute chart, okay? Bitcoin runs 24 hours a day, right? So these candles are every 15 minutes all the way up to the current price. And that current price being 92.4K. So at 9:30 today would be what Mr. would be reflecting that price to be. So if we look at 9:30 right here, on this green candle, that's when basically the market opened. And that's when Mr. opened and started trading, right? What did it do? Looks like we had a little bit of a push up. And then what happened? It fell. we were up around, say, 91 and got as high at about 92.3, and then we fell. So at about 10:15 this morning, during market hours, it was coming down. And that's when it actually came all the way down to about 88.5. And that's about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At this candle right here, there's only one more hour left before market closes. So now let's just fast forward or move our cursor up to the 1600 hour, and there we are right there. So you can see, where were we at during market close? Well, this candle here ended up closing at 89.9K. We were under the 90K mark at the close of the market today. That's very important to note. A lot of people look at the candles, they see the green candle on Bitcoin, and then they see the red candle on MSTR, and they're just shaking their head and throwing their arms up and all upset, right? But you got to figure, at 4 o'clock, the market ends, or normal market hours, right? That ends. So whatever it closes at, that's what the candle is. Now there are after hour tradings, but the candle itself is not moving. Now I can go to a smaller time frame and I can turn on the night and all this, and you'll probably see a difference in that candle movement, right? But the most important part of this is when this candle closed, Bitcoin was under 90K. So being under 90K is why we have a red candle. Because yesterday's close, when it did close, Bitcoin was up around 92 or 93K, right? So it did come down from about that 92, 93K. And at market close today, Bitcoin was around the high 89s. So of course you're going to have a red candle. So I just wanted to show that because I imagine a lot of people are going to see this red candle on MSTR and start asking, well, why is this red when Bitcoin on the day chart is green, right? And that's why. Because you've got to understand this candle here is continually moving because Bitcoin is 24/7. But the candle on MSTR is not. It opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and it closes at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that will be the candle for the day. So wanted to explain just in case you see this red candle and start hating on MSTR because they're not following Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up, but MSTR's down. Well, MSTR's down because Bitcoin was down when MSTR closed today. I think that's a very important piece of information to make sure that you are comparing apples to apples. And of course, I don't even have to look at MSTY. We know it's going to be down because MSTR is down right here. And there you go, right there. But I just wanted to let you know it's down because Bitcoin was down at the close of these candles. But now keep in mind, tomorrow, MSTY will go X. Therefore, that distribution amount will come out of the price of the stock. And you can see it did close on MSTY at $7.55. After hours, it went to about $7.86. And currently, it's at $7.72. And why is it down from $7.86 to $7.72? That's because of the distribution drop. And I can show that by flipping over to this 15-minute chart right here. And you can see these candles, they just continue to move, right? Because this is still the after hours, right? But 8 o'clock here is when the after hours ends and the overnight trading begins, okay? And at that beginning of overnight trading is when that distribution amount comes out of the price of the stock. And I can show that by flipping on the night down here. So I'll flip it to night. And now you can see the two different gray areas right here. One's a little darker and one's a little lighter, right? So that is this side is the overnight and this side is the after hours. And of course the black side here, that is the regular market trading hours. So as you can see, we were looking and we saw this candle go up to right here and then it just stopped. That's the 8 o'clock. Well, that's because right after that, boom, overnight starts and it also takes out that 16 cents that was announced. So I just wanted to show you where that distribution actually comes out. And it does. Right after that 8 o'clock hour, that's when that distribution comes out. And now this is the price after that distribution has came out of the price of the stock itself. So just in case you didn't know that, I wanted to show you that part there. But anyway, so next time you see a red candle on, say, Mr. or Misty, but when you look at Bitcoin and it looks like it's a big green candle moving up, you do have to take it down to, well, what was happening at the time of the close for Mr., right? What was happening during that time? And then compare that with that same time frame for Bitcoin. So you do have to take it down to a smaller time interval, say 5 or 15 minutes, to actually see what happened at the close. And then that will hopefully help to explain why there could be a candle difference. One's red, one's green, one's up, and one's down, right? So I just really wanted to make sure that I explained that and to show the differences. And before I wrap this up, in my Discord, I did note that I do have a Leaps that I did buy on NVIDIA. Now I've had this one for about a little over a week, I guess. So I'm hoping this one here can move on up. My Leaps that I did buy was at a 105. And if I look at the option chain here, you can see there's my position. That little P right there. So if I open this one up, I can look right there, position. I have one contract at 105. And this is a Leaps. So I bought that 105 call, okay? So I have the right, but not the obligation, to buy those shares at 105. I do not have to. Like I said, I have the right to, but I'm not obligated to because I am the buyer. Now, when you're the seller, you have the obligation to sell your shares, okay? You sign the contract to sell them. You have to stick to it. Now, if I'm the buyer, I still have a choice whether or not I want to buy it or not. But for a Leaps, usually that's out at least a year. In my case here, this one's all the way out to 2028. So I'm out over 2 years, right? And I paid about $9,500 for this Leaps. And as you can see right now, the mid price for this Leaps is 100.7. So my $9,500 that I paid for it, if you look at it now, take this times 100, that means that it's right now worth about $10,000, right? So my $9,500 that I paid for it, right now it's worth about $10,000. Now that was at the close of today. And that's important to note because the option chain does not move outside of the market hours. And what was also important about NVIDIA for today, and that would be this little E right here, earnings. So they had earnings at the close of today. And it looks like they knocked it out of the park, right? They beat the expectations. So we'll hopefully see a nice move up on NVIDIA tomorrow. You can see after hours, it's at $196 when it closed at $186. So it is up after hours, but we'll have to see how the market reacts come market open tomorrow because things can definitely change, right? But so far, so good. But if you're interested in the other option plays that I get into or any other stocks that I am buying, I let my Discord members know when I'm purchasing. Even when VOO dropped, I bought a couple shares there and I let my Discord members know. I currently own 100 shares of SPY and I am currently down on it right now because the market has come down. But like I've said before, I am not worried about owning shares of SPY, even if the market is coming down. Because if I look at a 5-year chart, what does this tell you right there? That tells you that SPY or SPY normally moves up. May pull back, but eventually it will go back up. And that's why I'm not worried about owning SPY. And even if I look at the 1 year chart right here, you can see it's still going up. It still stays above that MA200, which is this red line. Now, granted, we did drop below it over here, but we all know why it dropped below the MA200 in March and April of this year. I don't have to tell you that, because if you were in the market, I guarantee you, you had a stock that was down. You probably had a lot of stocks that were down. Most people did. But for a stock that normally goes up and to the right, that's why I am not worried about owning 100 shares at SPY. The only thing that I was more upset about was, as we were dropping, I didn't have any more cash to sell another put because it was dropping below this red line, which was that low that I was looking for from the day before here. And when it dropped down below it, here and here, I could have sold another put at around, say, 661 or something, and I would have owned another 100 shares at that price, and then the two averaged together would help to lower that average so that when this thing moves up, then I'm just getting 200 shares times my price appreciation. But that's okay. You can't win them all, and you can't get in all of them. So I just wanted to also bring that up. But if you're interested in seeing my notifications of when I get into stocks, ETFs, or even when I'm getting out of certain ones, definitely check out my Discord. The link will be in the pinned comments and in the description below. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.